Hey, what is up everybody? I'm Chance and we are back today for another episode of Our Life Beginnings, and always we're heading into the cool little chapter bit, so let me be quiet and let's get into it. Alright, well, we are here, we are doing this, let's not waste any more time, and we are going to go into hang. You grabbed a large beach towel from off your bed and stuffed it into a bag. You had already packed your water bottle for your upcoming beach hangout session. The stars had aligned and somehow everyone was free today. Miranda had set things up with several bubbly phone calls between you, Cove, and Terri to find a time to hit the beach. You were hoping that this would be a fun time together. Cove walks in shirtless. Cove sat on your windowsill and kicked one of his legs into the air idly. He already had his swimsuit on, and his towel was bundled under his arm in a misshapen ball. He'd shown up earlier that morning with a surprising amount of enthusiasm. He was chatting as you caught up to his preparation. But seriously, I couldn't find my swimsuit this morning. I looked everywhere. It had disappeared. I had no idea what I was going to do. You could have gotten a new one somewhere. What happened to all your other swimsuits? True. You don't have to wear a swimsuit to be on a beach. Yeah, it completely vanished somehow, just like your old sand pail. You stayed quiet. Let's do a callback. That's cute. You totally didn't just lose your stuff again. Very funny, Jamie. That was different, and I was 8. Anyways, I don't know why it was in the bathroom when I never put it there. He gave a small smile and readjusted the towel in his arms. You now could see that it had been folded at some point, but then rolled up and carried without much care. So glad. But I'm just glad I found it. It would have been crappy to lose my favorite trunks. It was nice to see Cove so happy and comfortable in what he was wearing. You walked over to your dresser and mused about how you had picked out your own swimsuit. Luckily, since you were average height, you only needed to worry about finding the right size when it came to the shape of your body. You were heavyset, you were chubby, you were generally medium, you were slender, you were scrawny. I kind of forget what body type I had initially. I think I was kind of generally medium. Yeah, let's continue with the generally medium. I think that's good. Just average everywhere. And you had noticeable muscles, you had a little muscle definition, your body was soft, your body was delicate. I think we'll go with maybe we have a little bit of muscle definition. I don't think we are the strongest person, but we do go out a little bit. I'm torn between these two, honestly, but we'll go with a little bit of muscle definition. We're not crazy. Your build was toned and firm with muscles that were there, though slight in size. You had gained more muscle in recent years. It was clear when compared to how you were when you were younger. Are you okay? You alright? Oh, yeah. I was just thinking about some things. What things? Just myself and my body, really. His eyebrows rose at your admission of self-reflection. And what do you think? So I think this is supposed to say, what did you think of who you are, maybe? Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to say. What did you think of who you are? You considered your identity further. You had always felt sure about your gender. You wondered if your gender was really something you felt right about. I think we're pretty sure. Being called him was right for you. And you had a naturally flat chest. That's the way you wanted it to be. You generally wore a padded bra over your chest. You had breast augmentation surgery. You left it like that. You were considering options for it. You used a padded bra for now, but intended to get surgery later. Oh, these are just such nice options. We're gonna go with that's the way that you wanted it to be. People had a lot of their identity wrapped up in their physical form. It shaped their self-image. You were confident in yours, you were comfortable in yours, you weren't really content with yours, you hated your body, you knew you had body dysphoria. We'll go with you're comfortable in yours. It's not confident, but we're getting a little bit better because I feel like maybe we're a tad bit self-conscious in the previous goes, so we're starting to accept. Your body was you, and it was a good one that you felt content in. You used to not feel as good when you were younger. Yep. But you had since grown into your body. You felt more at home now and less uncomfortable. You focused on Cove again. I like that I remembered that. You focused on Cove again. He smiled at you and tilted his head, a question still in his eyes. He was waiting for you to come to an answer, but before you could, you had something to say to him. What do you think about me? You like the way I look, right? Just be completely blunt. Now we're gonna say this first one. What do you think of me? About how I look, I mean. Cove smirked a little, his eyes taking you in easily. Fishing for compliments, Jamie? You look great. Everyone knows that, including you, by the way. Unless that's changed. You pouted, you laughed, you blushed. You didn't want to compliment, or I didn't want to compliment, I was just asking. So what if I wanted you to compliment me? You still should. We'll blush a little bit. We'll blush a little bit. You felt your cheeks heat up and looked away. Cove shook his head. His hand went up to try to unsubtly cover his smile. I was kind of worried you were so in your own head because something was wrong. Guess not. I'm glad. Hey, Jamie. Cove gave a bent smile, pointing to your arms. You're looking particularly toned today. He answered not with words, but with a solid okay sign with both hands in the same cheeky smile. Oh my god, this is cute! Cove suddenly flushed when he realized how boldly he'd complimented you. He stood by it, even if he was a little red. You're a little taken aback. That came out of nowhere. You glanced at yourself. You like that? Yeah. Oh my god. You started to flex and show off jokingly. You flirtatiously stretched. You stood there stunned. You're so sweet and fantastic. You have some very good arms yourself. You hugged him. Do we just... like, what do we do here? 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 Do we compliment or do we want to be jokey? We're gonna compliment him back. Let's just make this a total, like, fiasco. Cove ducked his head and started to rub his left arm. It seemed he was much more prepared to rain praise on you than to receive it himself. He barely could respond. Thanks. You too. Oh, I heard you said that, huh? Thanks. Finally, you felt that was enough of that topic for one day. Yeah. You went back to your original goal before you got sidetracked. You needed to pick what you wanted to wear to the beach. You chose to wear casual clothes instead. You picked a one-piece swimsuit. You decided to wear a two-piece bikini. You chose a two-piece tankini, got it. You wanted to wear your wetsuit. You wanted to wear swim trunks with no shirt. You decided to wear a Speedo without a top. Let's go ahead and do swim trunks with no shirt. Kind of standard. While you dug around in your drawers, you tried to think if there was anything else you were missing. You took sunglasses, you grabbed a hat, you brought a shawl, you grabbed your board shorts, You picked out a regular shirt to wear as well. You grabbed a full swimsuit cover up to wear as well. You took your goggles. You're gonna take sunglasses. With that taken care of, you held your outfit together and looked to Cove. He was tapping his toes on the side of the wall as he waited. You vaguely wondered if he thought that was a comfortable place to sit. You hoped so, given how long he'd perched on it. Regardless, it was time for him to go. You weren't going to put on your beachwear with him just chilling there. I need to change. Cove smiled, content with being kicked out. Alright. Cove lowered himself off the window and strolled past you to get to the door. He lightly brushed his fingers against your cheek when he passed by. Bye. What? I'll see you out front. Cove is kind of smooth, huh? Okay. When you were alone, you got undressed and put your swimwear on. You also checked your beach bag for the final time, and it seemed like you hadn't forgotten anything. You left your room and hurried down the stairs, ready to meet Cove. You made sure to lock your front door and walked outside. Cove stood in the road, looking down and scuffing his feet on the asphalt. When you shut your heavy door, he looked up at you and smiled. Hey. Hi, Miranda and Terri are gonna be here in not too long. Terri even texted me earlier saying she was mostly on schedule. Why don't we just head to the beach and wait for them there? We're both ready. That sounded like a good idea to you. You said as much, and Cove shot off a quick text telling the two of them where you'd be. Cove gave you a thumbs up after the message sent. It was a familiar path to walk, and it wasn't long until you reached the shore. Gosh, this makes me want to go to the beach so bad. Cove laid out his towel on the warm sand. You set up your stuff beside him and looked out into the ocean. The rolling swells hit the shore rhythmically. You all had lucked out. It was a beautiful day, the sky was clear, and the waves were good. It was a balmy summer day, but with a pleasant breeze to keep things comfortable. Essentially, it was perfect. Sounds like it. Do you feel like heading into the water? Maybe just walk down the shore? Or would you want to do something here? The water sounds good. Taking a stroll will be fun. I don't mind my feet being in the water. You plan to just get some sun? Either way is fine. What would you want to do? We are getting in that water. That's what I'm here for anyway. Cove nodded, accepting of the plan. He kicked some sand off his towel absent-mindedly. Yeah, sounds nice. You took a deep breath and tasted the relaxing, salty air. Cove caught your eye and gave you a small smile. You chatted a little before a comfortable quiet settled over the two of you, content to watch the waves as you waited for the others. Luckily, it didn't take long until you heard shouts. You turned your head to see both Miranda and Terri running straight for you. Miranda was faster, making leaps and bounds across the sand. Terri followed in her wake, laughing with her towel clutched around her shoulders and flowing like a cape. Miranda started making her jumps more theatric and more precarious as she got closer. Cove waved them on with a bright grin. You shouted a greeting, you cheered at their antics, you waved too, you laughed, you shook your head, you hoped they wouldn't fall. You cheered at their antics. Woo! The two officially arrived at Cove's and your setup. Looking completely ready for an ocean adventure. They were already in their swimwear and were raring to go. Hey Terri, Miranda, welcome to our beach. Hi. Hello, hello. She beamed and Miranda nodded with a smile. Man, I am so pumped. Yeah, I'm really glad this worked out. What have you guys been up to over here in your town? Cove, Jamie, have we missed things? Cove blinked and then shrugged when nothing he wanted to mention came to mind. You shrugged like Cove, you gave a vague answer, you gave her a recap over how your family was doing. What have you been up to? We'll give a recap. We're catching up. Your moms were the same as ever for the most part. Although they were definitely still adjusting to you being an adult now. Liz had asked you to take pictures of her latest makeup look the other day. There was nothing too dramatic going on right now. Terri nodded along and mentioned a couple of things about her own parents. Miranda brought up her family and shared some of the wild things her older brother had done. Terri then started talking about her morning and how she'd almost overslept since she had stayed up too late last night. She bounced on her feet as she spoke. But don't worry about me being tired today. You know I ran on less back during school. Miranda filled in the group about her morning. Apparently, everything had gone smoothly. She'd met up with Terri on the way here and you knew the rest. Cove offered a suggestion to the girls. Hey, why don't we take this out to the water? Oh yeah, definitely. You felt pleased that Cove remembered what you wanted to do. Sometimes he could be thoughtful like that. Terri threw her stuff down on the sand and started running for the waves. Miranda was much more careful setting down her things and waited for you and Cove. Cove tilted his shoulder to gesture over to the ocean. I've been looking forward to this. The three of you made your way down to the shoreline together. Miranda cartwheeled and Terri clapped. Soon, all four of you were in the water. Cove swam out the furthest, while Terri instigated a splash fight. There was rarely Terri is me. There was rarely a quiet moment where someone wasn't laughing. Hours passed and the group had moved between different activities, some low-key and some more exhaustive. For you, it was another break time. You sat on your towel and sipped at some water. Your friends were hard at work, burying Terri's full body under a pile. Miranda used her arms to force up sand around Terri's sides. Cove worked on covering Terri's feet. You took another drink and closed your eyes. Eventually, a shadow passed over you, dampening the light that was still notable even behind your eyelids. You checked to see Cove had joined you there. He knelt down to dig around in the pile of assorted beach stuff in the middle of everyone's towel setup, and pulled out the sunscreen. He took a seat next to you on his towel. He opened the bottle with a soft pop and began to reapply the cream. Hey. He ran his hands across his chest to work the sunscreen in, and you might have checked him out a little from the corner of your eye while still sipping some water. After he finished up, Cove let out a comfortable sigh and looked off into the distance. But then he sighed again, this time in an exaggeratedly disappointed way. You wondered if he was going to sigh again, even more dramatically if you didn't say anything. What's wrong, you honestly wondered? You wondered what it was, you raised an eyebrow, you chuckled. Oh, Cove, whatever is it? I'm sure it's going to be okay, you joked. We'll ask and be honestly curious. You inspected his face to see if there was anything actually distressed about him, but he still just looked like he was exaggerating. You asked anyway, since it was obvious that was what he wanted. Cove shook his head, comically despondent. His frown didn't match the sparkle in his eyes. I'm just becoming another jaded adult, that's all. Now you are really confused. You waited for him to continue, and his next sigh did not disappoint. It was the most ridiculously sad sigh you had ever heard. Then he smiled a little. Mermaids aren't real. What? That had not been what you were expecting. He continued. You know how much I liked mermaids as a kid? Well, merfolk as a whole. I really hoped that they were out there. I mean, the ocean's a big place, right? It could be somewhere. Sure. But the older I got, the more I had to accept it. They were just a fairy tale. He jerked his head over to the waterline and the rolling waves. They crashed against the shore and then drew back. This is a perfect beach for them. It's pretty and vast and never too crowded. If merfolk did exist, we definitely would have met one by now. Or At least we would have heard of someone else seeing one, but nothing. He acted as though that result was a true bafflement. He let his head hang. I gotta let the dream go. He burst into laughter. That's hardly proof. It's not like this is the only beach in the world. You pretended to be shocked and disappointed. You shook your head. Wow, good for you with that revelation. Let's go ahead. Let's just burst into laughter because it's funny. That was hilarious. Cove chuckled a little to himself. Eyes tilted off into the ocean, his face still low. Maybe it's for the best. Let's say a person did happen to wash up on shore one day. He looked at you with a faux, doleful expression. I could have lost my best friend to their magical underwater world. Oh yeah, I'd totally go live under the sea with the merfolk. Even if I had the chance, I'd stay on the shore with you. I'd go with the mer person, but only if you could come with us too. We're gonna be sappy, okay? Even if I had the chance, I'd stay on the shore with you. Cove's eyes widened with amazement. You'd pick me? A plain human over a beautiful mythic mer person? He smiled and continued, very clearly joking around at this point. Are you sure that's the right call? If a beautiful, kind mer person falls for somebody, I'm pretty positive that the sensible response isn't to turn around and say, no thanks, I'm gonna stay on land with a normal guy. Are you warning me that you'd leave if you got that kind of offer? Why are you so sure I'd have to make that call? Since this is all hypothetical, why not have you be the mer person? I don't want that. I should get to be a mer creature and then I'd invite you to the underwater world. I like this one for some reason. I'm actually curious to like for these three. But I really like this third one right here, so that's what we're gonna do. Since this is all hypothetical, why not have you be the mer person? Cove turned his face to beam at you. He brightened immediately. Now we're talking. I'd be a good merman, right? I could see it. Cove's gaze was drawn back to the water with shining eyes. He was clearly imagining some world where he was a merman who happened upon you here at this beach. You tried to picture what he could be thinking. It would be quite a lovely story. And then you heard Miranda screech. Your attention immediately switched over to your friends. My guess is she got by a crab. You saw that Terri had gotten impatient and shifted her legs. The wall... Oh, no. That's right. They're messing around with sand. The walls Miranda been meticulously building collapsed into a wet heap of sand. She surveyed the damage critically. We're gonna have to start over on that part. Do you just want to give up on this now? No way. The burial must continue. I'll try not to move anymore. Okay, if you're sure, I'll try to fix this. Miranda started to rebury her. And Terri shot her a thumbs up. She realized too late that moving her arm was a bad idea. More of the sand on her crumbled and Miranda put her head in her hands. Cove caught your eye and started to drag himself up. Seems like we're needed. You agreed and followed him over to the girls. Miranda nodded at you both with appreciation, and the three of you did your best to finish the job. You all worked out a system of using just enough wet sand to help hold the rest together. With 3 people, it didn't take long for Terri to be entombed. Terri grinned massively, and Miranda offered high fives. The pile was officially done. Oh yeah! Resembling the Kool-Aid... Oh yeah! Resembling the Kool-Aid man, she kicked herself out of the ground with gusto. Sand went flying in all directions, and a Terri-shaped imprint was left behind. That's so funny. Miranda yelled again, and Cove chuckled. There probably wasn't a better way to get out of it. The 4 of you... That's probably one of my favorite lines in this whole thing. I don't know why. The Kool-Aid man is just funny to me. And someone busting out of a sand entombment, saying it just like that is also perfect. The four of you continued to have a good time. You went on a shell hunt. Miranda managed to find the biggest, while you found the most colorful. Cove caught a tiny crab. You did a bit of everything. There were impromptu games to just soaking up each other's company. However, after a while, you all had ran out of water. Drinkable water, anyway. It was decided that you'd head to your Cove's house. Things were gathered, and you started to cheerfully walk up the road. What's next? I don't have anywhere to go, so it could be whatever. Same. I guess we can keep hanging out. Terri snorted and readjusted her grip on her things. Don't sound too sure there, Cove. By this point, you could see your house. It hadn't taken you long to make the trip. The conversation continued with everyone throwing out suggestions. Are people hungry? I would be. She looked from face to face in inspection. Cove and Miranda shrugged in concert. No one was overtly opposed to it. However, you weren't really starving. It wasn't quite a mealtime. We could get dessert. There's an idea. Miranda put a finger to her lip and thought. With a smile, her voice became more confident. Yeah, that would be fun. Terri considered it and then shot Miranda a thumbs up. Sounds great to me. I can definitely go for that. I think that's a good idea. But there's nothing sweet at my house. Your friends glanced at Cove and his place. He shook his head immediately. Dad doesn't have anything good either. I mean, unless you want dessert-flavored protein shakes. Ew, no. She cut in and held her hands up as if trying to ward off something evil. Cove smirked. It's not that bad. Nope. Well, there has to be some kind of sweet shop around here. Let's look it up. Terri nodded and started to dig around in her bag. I like the way you think. Terri continued to rummage in her bag and grew increasingly frustrated. She puffed out her cheeks and knelt down, setting the bag on the ground. Did she lose her phone? With both hands free, she was finally able to fish out her phone. Thank goodness. I have actually had my phone stolen at a beach before. So, yeah, this made me nervous. She raised it up in triumph for a brief moment of celebration. I'll search for something good. Terri got back to her feet, hefting the bag over one arm, tapping away at her screen in the other. But she assessed Cove and you from top to bottom. No shirt, no shoes, no service. Cove glanced down at his bare chest and feet, having not even registered it prior. He chuckled a little. I'll grab something. You nodded as well. You weren't exactly restaurant ready like this. Cove moved over to his house. You looked towards yours. You ran into your house. No one was home, so you just rushed to your room and dropped off your beach stuff on your bed. Like sand and everything. You threw something on over what you were wearing. You completely changed into casual clothes. We're going to take a little bit more time and change into casual clothes because nothing is worse than wearing sandy pants. You stripped and found a suitable outfit to go hang out in. You slept it on and felt satisfied with your decision. With that, you sped back outside. Cove was already there and gathered around Terri's phone with the girls. He'd opted to just add a shirt and shoes, apparently putting in the minimum effort for service. I like how he's wearing an orca shirt. Hello again. You don't really want ice cream, do you? You didn't have a chance to answer. She kept barreling through with her words. 'Cause I'm not into that right now. Don't mind her. You look nice, by the way. Terri scrolled further and then made an interested exclamation. Oh, what about this place? They sell crepes. That's something you don't see every day. Look how fancy they are. She shoved her phone into your face. It seemed like a cute shop. It didn't show any pictures of the actual building, but the food seemed good. It was one of those places that put a lot of effort into presentation, with branded wrapping for the crepes and well-applied toppings. Weird. I've never heard of it. I haven't either. Mysterious. But crepes are so good. She nodded her approval as Terri admired more of the photos. I'd go. It's not too far, but we could drive. Terri cheered at the success of a plan made, and you all walked around to Cove's car. He had to run inside once more to grab his keys. You wrote "Wash me" in the dirt on his car. You waited for Cove. We're gonna write "Wash me." You noticed a thin coat of sand and dust on Cove's car. It had probably been a while since he'd washed it. With a smirk, you carefully wrote "Wash me" with your finger. Good work. I wonder if he's even gonna notice. The car beeped and unlocked. Cove ran up to you with his car keys in hand. His hair slipped into his face as he brushed it back. He brushed it back. Shotgun! She clambered into the passenger seat without hesitation. You didn't argue and climbed into the back with Miranda. Terri activated the directions on her phone map and acted as their navigator, directing Cove to the crepes. The GPS tried to get Cove to turn into a non-existent road once, and wanted him to do a U-turn instead of just using a left turn. But with Terri looking at the actual path, it went smooth enough. You were led to a small stall in a parking lot, rather than a full building. That explained why there hadn't been pictures of the crepery's interior, and why it was new to you despite living in this town your entire life. It was a completely new structure that popped up recently. There was a window you could walk up to, and one for cars to drive up to. Cove parked with a laugh. I don't think I needed to put a shirt on for this, but I still want to try it. Let's go. Do you not trust us to eat in your car? She gestured to the drive-thru option. Cove shook his head with a snort. I trust some people here, maybe, but wouldn't it be more fun to actually check it out? He's right. Everyone acknowledged his point and piled out. Terri tried to tease Cove a little, but Miranda started talking about the last time she had crepes. Apparently, they'd been a dessert explosion, topped with multiple sauces, powdered sugar, and what Miranda was pretty sure had to be cake icing. That's sweet.
So great.
Literally. It was so good, but I regretted it so much. I couldn't finish it, and I really tried. You can do it this time, Randy. That's the thing with like really sweet stuff, is you start in on them and they're so good and super tasty, and then it like hits you that you've made an awful mistake and your stomach just like dies on you and you want to finish it because the taste is so good, but you also like can't. At least I struggle with that anyways. Ooh. All right, so we're gonna cut it short right there. Yeah, wow, I'm loving this so far. It's friends hanging out, being super cute and cool together, and gosh, it just reminds me so much of my young adult life. It's, I don't know, the freaking nostalgia is really hitting me hard. So, anyways, if you enjoyed this, give me one of those thumbs up. And leave a comment down below on your thoughts and feelings on this one. Anyways, if you want to keep seeing more of this content, please hit the subscribe button down below. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.